Did Justin give up? Did Blake and her lawyers wear him down to the point where he said, no mas, enough. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to keep fighting. I don't want to appeal. I don't want to amend. If the judge says throw it out, let's just stop. So we're coming to the end of this endless saga between Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively. Now, why do I say that? There are some movements that have been happening lately that are letting me know that the trajectory this case has taken is either going to be absolutely disastrous for the careers of Blake Lively and her husband Ryan Reynolds, or it's going to kind of fizzle out in a way that mainstream media is just going to completely forget about it and lose interest in it after it's done. But this is not looking like it is going to continue chugging along until next year when court proceedings are scheduled to start. If you have been following the case, you know that we are at a place where Justin Baldoni has pretty much run out of options in the case as it stands right now. Judge Lyman has pretty much dismissed his entire case. He left a couple claims that he could amend and bring back to the court so he could continue his case against them. But the time was allowed to lapse, and Justin's lawyers decided not to amend those complaints and just kind of let them fall to the side. So Justin's case is dead. The case that he filed against Blake Lively, her publicist, Ryan Reynolds, that case is dead. The only option that Justin Baldoni has against Blake Lively is to appeal the denial judgment issued by Judge Lyman. I recommended that in the last video when I talked about this. I really believe that Judge Lyman jumped the gun extremely quickly, suspiciously quickly, and now people are starting to talk. The latest development in this case that proves that Judge Lyman moved too quickly to dismiss Justin Baldoni's claims against Blake Lively come in the form of a now widely reported amongst the independent internet sleuths that are reported from the Daily Mail, who had sent a sworn affidavit basically helping Blake Lively and her publicist specifically, that was cited many times in Judge Lyman's judgment to dismiss Justin Baldoni's case. This individual is now reported, nothing is official yet, but he is reported to be whispering that he intends to withdraw that sworn affidavit, saying that he signed it under duress and that what he said was not true. And what he was basically saying was defending Blake Lively's publicist and making it clear that she was not instigating some kind of a smear campaign against Justin Baldoni, when the reality is that the text messages that this same reporter has sent to Justin Baldoni's lawyers confirmed that Blake Lively's publicist was poisoning the waters against Justin. And so by removing that affidavit, he will be confirming that the information he did send to Justin Baldoni's lawyers was accurate, that Blake Lively and her publicist had started the rumblings of a smear campaign against Justin Baldoni to make him look as bad as possible. If this affidavit is denounced by the reporter, it's going to be such a blow to the judge. In addition to other information that is coming out about the original filings that were done by Blake Lively under a shell company to kind of hide her intentions to start this public fight against Justin, we are starting to see that there was some kind of inappropriate, borderline illegal activity going on over there, that this shell company was used to game the system. And the latest I'm hearing is that at the time that the filing was done, this shell company was headed by Blake Lively, and now when somebody went back and looked at that same company, is now being headed by Ryan Reynolds to kind of hide Blake. It's all looking really, really sloppy and really bad for Ryan and Blake. Not to mention that we have been hearing more and more that maybe Judge Lyman was not the appropriate judge for this case because he has ties, family ties, to the Hollywood machine, of which Blake and Ryan are major players. So when you take all these things and you put them together, it is very clear that one of three things is going to happen in this case. Number one, it is very possible that Judge Lyman, after seeing everything that is happening and seeing the lack of evidence that Blake Lively has shown to prove her case, in addition to the potential damage to his reputation as an impartial judge, I believe that Judge Lyman could very well and very soon dismiss Blake's case against Justin. Why do I say that? Well, he still hasn't ruled on Justin Baldoni's team's request to dismiss that case. He already dealt with Blake's request to dismiss Justin's case. He did that in a timely manner. But he still hasn't decided on the request to dismiss Blake's case. And you believe that if he really thinks that this is a case that is justified, that has legs to continue to go on, he would have ruled to continue this case months ago. But the fact that there's not even a ruling on that tells me that he has been mulling this. And with these latest developments that are coming up, and like I said, his reputation on the line, I believe that Judge Lyman, to show impartiality, is going to rule to dismiss Blake's case, at least most of it. Because by her own admission, and this is something that also came out recently, Blake Lively started this whole thing, and we've been saying this, right? We have been saying this from the very beginning, but recently an interview that Blake did with the New York Times confirming that they spoke to Blake Lively, that she was the one who gave them all the information that they needed to write that article so quickly. And in that article, she states that the only reason why she went public with this is because she found out that Justin Baldoni and his team were working on a campaign against her. That was the catalyst. But we now know that Stephanie Jones, who was the fired ex-publicist of Justin Baldoni, in what seems to be a very clear case of vendetta, went to Blake Lively and her team and said, hey, look, I stole these text messages from my ex-employee who now continues to work for Justin Baldoni, and here it is, you can use this to go after them. And then Blake Lively, under a shell company, subpoenaed this information from Stephanie Jones as if she hadn't seen it before, as if this was the only way she could have seen these text messages. She did it under a shell company that had nothing to do with It Ends With Us. The Van Zandt company, which was the shell company she used to request this subpoena, didn't sign any contracts with Justin Baldoni or It Ends With Us LLC, but yet she used the shell company to subpoena the text messages that she then used as the basis for her lawsuit. Because this was done in such an improper way, I argued in an earlier video that just like in a criminal case, you cannot use evidence that was extracted from improper means. They are called fruit of a poisonous tree. The same rule applies when you are gathering information for a civil lawsuit. You have to go through the proper channels. It has to be done in an open way. And if you're going to subpoena the text messages from somebody, you have to be able to do it in a way that they're aware that you are seeking to look at the information from their phone, so that they have a chance to get a lawyer and defend themselves against you having access to their information. Jen Abel, who was the employee whose text messages were stolen by her ex-boss, Stephanie Jones, wasn't able to defend herself because she wasn't aware that, number one, those text messages were now in the possession of her ex-boss, and that her ex-boss had improperly shared those text messages to Blake Lively's team. And in order to keep that a secret, Blake Lively used a shell company that nobody had ever heard in association with her name or her husband's name. It was all calculating. And it all looks very improper. And because the information that was extracted from this improperly filed case is the basis for the entire lawsuit against Justin Baldoni, if Judge Lyman wants to show himself to be really impartial, he needs to throw it out. And if he throws that out, the entire case is out. Because Blake has failed to show any piece of evidence that proves her arguments against Justin Baldoni. She hasn't found a shred of evidence, and her team has now resorted to calling the supposed smear campaign an untraceable campaign. If it's untraceable, you're basically saying we haven't found anything. And if you haven't found anything, why is this case still open? So number one, I do believe that Judge Lyman might very soon just throw the whole thing away. And if this happens, if the case gets thrown out, I don't think Justin Baldoni is going to try to continue fighting. Because that case being thrown out will be all the vindication he needs to prove that he was falsely accused. He can then use this to give interviews, to write books, to do whatever he needs to do to clear his reputation and try and see if he can gain his place back into Hollywood society. Because I'll tell you one thing about Hollywood. Hollywood is a very fickle friend. And when you are flying high and you're doing well and you still have the good graces of the public, Hollywood will stand behind you. But the moment they smell blood in the water, the moment you seem vulnerable, the moment the world is looking at you like, you people are horrible. You are horrible human beings. You really tried to bury this man because you were trying to steal a movie away from him, which is what I believe the public is going to feel after this case, if it gets dismissed and Justin gets to speak his truth to the world and tell all of it. The world is going to be horrified by what they hear. And Hollywood, including Blake and Ryan's agent, Ari Emanuel, who's a powerful man in Hollywood, they will all back away from them and they'll be dead in the water. Okay? That is one scenario. The other one is, if the case does not get dismissed, then Justin will have no other choice but to vigorously defend himself. And I believe in court, again, I don't even believe this should be a case that should be continuing, but if it goes to court, it will not stand the test of the law. Blake has nothing, and she will be destroyed in court by the defense. The third and final option would be that, sensing that this is coming, that there is a dismissal coming, Blake Lively is just going to drop the case and say, you know what? When Justin's case got dismissed, that's all the vindication I needed so I can move on with my life. I think we've gone long enough, and I'm just so happy that I have been proven to be innocent. And unfortunately, I believe that that might be the most likely scenario. I truly believe that Judge Lyman has some kind of an improper bias towards Blake and Ryan. He might give them some kind of a heads up in a way of communication that he issues through his docket and says something like, I'm inclined to not really move forward with this, or make some kind of a vague comment that will give her the green light to drop the case and kind of try to salvage whatever she can about her reputation in Hollywood. Even if this happens, I believe that Justin will go ahead and tell his story as one last ditch effort to kind of salvage whatever shreds of reputation he has left. But because Blake's case is the only one that is open, she has the cards to play to decide, do I want to see this case being dismissed? Do I want to see this case go to court and lose terribly? Or do I just want to dismiss it while I'm ahead? And I believe that that's what's going to happen. And it's really unfair. It's really unfair. I believe that Brian Friedman, Justin Baldoni's lawyer, should have appealed the case the moment it got dismissed, because he still had all the cards. They were in the midst of discovery. And in the midst of discovery, you are still uncovering a lot of information that can help argue your case. So for them to get dismissed, even though they were the ones that were finding more and more evidence and clues of this campaign against him, for them to get dismissed at such a crucial point was such an improper move by the judge. It was so clear that Brian Friedman should have brought it up immediately to another court and said, this is unfair. This should not have happened. Furthermore, we have found out through our investigation that Judge Lyman has some connection to the Hollywood machine that Blake and Ryan are very in control of. So we don't know if this judge can be fully impartial. And based on this rash judgment, it seems to us that the case should not be dismissed and Judge Lyman should be removed. That's what I believe that Mr. Friedman should have done in the best interest of his client. And I feel that they capitulated too early. And I don't know what that means. I don't know if there's some kind of communication happening in the background. Again, he can still appeal, but between now and the moment they decide to appeal, Blake still has the cards on her hands. She can still dismiss her case and do a victory lap. And they should not have allowed her to have that latitude, to have that power in her hand, not even for 24 hours. That appeal should have come within the first 20 hours of that dismissal. And I have to say, I'm very disappointed with Mr. Friedman. I really thought that he was some kind of a genius, that he had this under control. He was handling this case way better than Blake's lawyers. He had Blake's lawyers running for their lives, denying, delaying, trying to avoid giving this and giving that, and they were using all these delay tactics. It was making them look like the guilty party. And so the fact that he just let this thing kind of fall to the wayside, it seems strange. So it makes me wonder, did Justin give up? Did the thing that I was fearing happen? Did Blake and her lawyers wear him down to the point where he said, no mas, enough. I don't want to do this anymore. I'll defend myself if it goes to court, but I don't want to keep fighting. I don't want to appeal. I don't want to amend. If the judge says throw it out, let's just stop. I'm tired. I just want to be with my family. The amount of money that Justin made from It Ends With Us, which was a widely successful movie in spite of all the drama. And I believe that if there was no drama, and if Justin's version had been allowed to go out, how much more money could they have made? However, they made enough money that I think Justin Baldoni is set for life. I think he can retire at this point, and maybe the rest and relaxation he has had in the last few months as he and his family just kind of went away, they went abroad, they just kind of disappeared from the Hollywood machine, and they were just taking it easy and resting while the lawyers were doing all the fighting. I think Justin came to some kind of an epiphany and said, what is the point? If Hollywood doesn't want me, it's okay. I don't need Hollywood anymore. I have all the money that I need for my family to be well until the end of our days. I'm just going to retire. We're going to move to some other place where it's calm and peaceful, and we can just dedicate ourselves to doing other things that bring us joy because we can afford to. There was footage from a fan who saw Justin at Disneyland the other day, and let me tell you, Justin looked so young and so rested. He looked so much younger than the way he looked at the premiere of the movie. And I think that the rest and the relaxation and the knowledge that he is standing on the truth and that the things that have been said about him are lies, and knowing that that is enough, all of that come together has done him so well. The man is looking happy, relaxed, at ease. And I'm thinking that maybe Brian Friedman really wanted to keep on fighting, but Justin was the one who said, stop. We're good. I'm good. I'm at peace. My family and I were solid. The kids are so happy to have me all the time with them. I'm sure when he was filming, he was away from his family. His kids missed him. His wife missed him. And these months of them just huddling together, being away from it all, has just brought them so close together and has brought so much healing to his soul that I think he's ready to just give up. I believe that he will defend himself if it goes to court, but I think that he knows, his lawyers know, that it's never going to go to court. that Blake is gonna dismiss the case. She doesn't have to settle now. There's nothing to settle because he's out. So it's up to her if she wants to continue and not continue. She's not going to continue. Understand this. The case will not go to court. And so I believe that that is the case. And as much as I am dismayed and so disgusted by the fact that evil won and that justice was not attained, it gives my soul peace to know that Justin is at peace. And understand this. Blake and Ryan are going to get theirs. They will get theirs. It may not come in the form of this case, but they're going down. And I remember there was a moment last year, a moment of great trauma for a lot of us that happened, where I just felt like, wow, evil triumphed in the end. Evil won. But I kept hearing the words over and over in my head after that. Pride comes before the fall. And since then, I have seen instances where, people who thought they were on top have now fallen from grace. And there's more to come. There is more to come. Pride comes before the fall. When Justin's case got dismissed, Blake was out there smiling and she was like, yes, we won, baby. We did it. Pride comes before the fall. Believe me when I tell you this, Team Baldoni. Believe me, pride comes before the fall, and the fall is coming. Because this much evil cannot sustain itself. Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively, based on everything that I have found out about these two people in the last few months, looking into this case and looking into all the whispers and the things that they have been engaging in the past, that much evil cannot stand. And this is my opinion. This is what I believe. I'm covered by the First Amendment, if we still have it, to be determined. But so far, I believe we still have a constitution, and I believe that we have a right to express ourselves and give our opinion. So that's what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments section. Thank you so much for watching. Please like this video if you enjoyed it. Please subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see me do more commentary on things in social media and the news. Share this video if you thought it was interesting. Watch other videos while you are here. I have a whole videography of videos on this topic. Watch them if you think that this was interesting. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I will see you in the next one.